Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is the man, the myth, the flyer, the hire, the Frank Ramblings. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I am looking at my cats differently, but I'm doing great.
Aren't you, though? Like, you just wonder, if they could eat me with tentacles, will they?
I don't wonder. I know.
Oh, yeah. My cat doesn't stop eating, so, like, everything that happened in the Marvels is, like, I think his heaven. I'm pretty sure. Except that he'd have to give the food back, so I guess maybe that wouldn't be his heaven.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Frank, how are you today, and what are you drinking before we talk about Marvels the Marvels?
Yeah, Marvels the Marvels, yes. I'm doing great, and I'm drinking a nice fall beer pumpkin ale, a Smuttynose Pumpkin Ale with real pumpkin.
Oh, interesting.
With real pumpkin, they want you to know.
Does it have the pulp in there? Or is
it does not, but it is brewed with pumpkin and spices.
That sounds delicious.
Yes, indeed.
Smuttynose is hard to go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a simple, straightforward kind of formula. You just can't mess with.
Right. I am also drinking a fall beer, but I am drinking it a little late. I'm drinking an Oktoberfest by the Black Hog Brewing Company from Oxford, Connecticut. It is a German-inspired American Feist beer. It's quite good as far as Oktoberfest go. Smooth. Not too nutty or malty. Just and not incredibly heavy either. Like, sometimes you have an Oktoberfest and it's veering too close to port. Or
Yep.
But this one is not, and I appreciate that. It's like emphasis on the Feist beer. And
love that.
Yeah. So, which is good. I do like it. I like Black Hog. I think I grabbed a few of I grabbed a few different varieties last time I was in the store. So you can expect those in the next 5 to 6 months as I wean through them.
Yeah, the way things go around here these days, yeah.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm lucky I'm drinking an Oktoberfest in November is what I'm saying.
I know, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. I truly, truly did consider a cup of tea because it is slightly cold for November.
It's getting wintry up here in New England.
It was 23 the other morning, and I said, it is November. There are still leaves on the trees, however brown they are, and most of them are gone. But still, it is November.
We got snow that stuck.
Oh, really?
A week ago. Yeah, less than a week ago. I mean, it was a dusting. It melted once the sun rose, but fell overnight, and it was a light coating.
We did have our first frosts not too long ago, but it was so frozen that I looked out and I thought it had snowed. I looked at the grass and I said, "Oh, did it snow? Nope, that's just a frost. That is just a freeze." But it's okay, it is what it is. Well, Frank, we're here to talk about Marvels the Marvels, as we talked about before, we both saw it at some point in the last few days.
This is true.
What did you think? Non-spoiler first, and then we'll go into spoilers.
I rather enjoyed it. a lot. I thought it was a fun movie, and I thought it felt like Marvel films sort of used to feel, maybe like pre-Endgame. It was just fun and didn't feel overly bogged down by any sort of MCU larger continuity kind of things. It was just a self-contained, sequel to a prior movie, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mostly echo that. I feel it's like a very middle of the road as far as Marvel movies go, or even just movies. Some pros that I really enjoyed, under 2 hours. Like,
yes,
I truthfully, I walked out going, I got everything I needed, and it was an hour and 45 minutes till the end of the credits. Like, and I didn't even stay to the end of the credits because I knew that the very post credits was an audio gag, and I said, I'm good, I'll miss it.
Sure,
yeah. So I stayed to mid credits, and then I skedaddled. But I just loved that it started at 2:30 and I was done by 4. Like,
yeah,
that was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah. Just when was the last time? I don't remember the last time I saw a new movie that was under 2 hours.
Right, not even Marvel. This is just
a new movie.
A new movie. Period.
Yeah.
Under 2 hours. Was Barbie under 2 hours? Now that I think about it.
No, I think it was.
It was just 2 hours.
Maybe like 2:05, something like that.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, there was something very special about it telling the story it needed to tell, and then it moved on. Like, it
didn't overstay its welcome. It didn't dwell anywhere for too long, but at the same time, it serviced the story and the characters fine.
Partly, I thought more than anything, it was like almost like economy of dialogue more than anything. Like, every single line moved into the next one to further the story or the characters, like the end. And even if that meant there was some, like, obviously, like, we cut some stuff, like early on in the movie, when this is, I guess, not a super spoiler because it was in the trailer at least, but no, it's
not a super spoiler, it's a captain spoiler.
It's a captain spoiler. You're right. I'm sorry. They keep switching places, when they use their powers, the three women. And so, like, all of a sudden Kamala's in space, and all of a sudden she's back in her home, and they're talking, like, and Maria's talking about it in space. Monica, is talking about it in space with Fury, and you're like, okay, I guess they switched one more time. Yes. But, like, there was clearly more there that they were like, it's unnecessary. You get it when she says this line. But that was very early in the movie, and that almost, like, made me sit back and go, oh, you're going to be one of these movies, and I really appreciate you for that.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, you just moved on. And I just, in some ways, it's like Star Wars-ish that way, where you just, like, say a thing and you move on. And I want to talk about that once we get to spoilers, and because to go back to that. But it was fun. Yeah, there were some really there were some sequences in it that I found, like, joyful to watch, like, not in like a masochistic kind of way that the internet seems to think that is important for enjoying this movie, but just like I'll remember that was a good idea, that was fun, it made me giggle, or the action was decent or whatever, and clearly everybody seemed to be having a good time, and at the end of it, that's really all I went for, and that's what I
have a good time,
right? And that's what I left with.
Yeah.
So not every movie needs to be Endgame or Infinity War or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it was. I got what I came for. It is what it says on the tin.
The Marvels. Yeah.
The Marvels.
A movie made by Marvel Studios, and that's what I saw.
Yes. No, I agree. It's like I don't feel strongly one way or the other, and that's okay.
Right. It's
like
probably
I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
It's not a movie I would see again unless, like, I was somewhere down the line and doing a whole MCU rewatch from start to finish. pop it back in to be like, I can't wait to see it. But
I had the feeling while I was in the theater that like I'm gonna watch this on cable one day. Like that's the next time I'll watch this is when I'm like flipping through and like FX is showing it or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's that kind of movie that you can tune in 20 minutes late and sort of pick up like, where are we? Oh, okay, we're up to that part. All right, cool.
You know, I'm glad that you said that because I actually did tune in late. I was like a little late to the show because I like overestimated how many previews there was going to be.
I see.
And I was going right from work. So I was like, I got to like stretch out.
Sure.
You know, I got to stretch out, you know, I can leave at this time. So I'm going to like do my work day. But the movie started 15 minutes before my work day ended. So I was like, I'll just like finish my day. I'll miss the half an hour of previews. And it was like 25 minutes of previews. So like I walked in and they were like they were already like investigating the tear in space or something.
Okay.
Like, and so I was like, all right, well, something happened. I'll catch up.
Yeah.
And by gosh, I did. I did catch up.
Sure did.
Within minutes. It required nothing from me.
Thank you for proving my thesis.
Yes, you're welcome.
You could start this movie 20 minutes late on TV.
You too can finish your workday, start this movie late, and still understand what's happening.
There you go.
The American dream. The American dream. Like, yeah. Just do your job, enjoy yourself for an hour and a half, and then go home. Like,
go see a movie.
Yeah.
And then go home.
Yeah, let's do spoilers now.
Sure. Yes, let's get into some spoilers.
I say it's like Star Wars, and before I want to go back to this so I don't lose the thread, in that it like in early Star Wars, like original trilogy Star Wars, in that it like covers potentially big thematic things, but doesn't have time for them at the same time. Like I think of like Luke seeing the people that raised him charred to a crisp. And he never mentions them again. Quite literally never mentions them again.
Yeah, yeah.
Like not 3 movies, television shows, whatever, or nothing. Absolutely
way
nothing.
More upset about losing Ben than he is about losing his
he quite literally spends time with that loss. It also being a matter of seconds. But like this is somebody who's not very close with, and these are his guardians for all intents and purposes. They are his parents. Even though they are his surrogate parents, and he's like, "There's nothing for me here now." Like,
right?
Okay,
but then he loses Ben. He's like, "I can't believe he's gone."
Can't believe it. Yeah, and then he's on. Then he's off again. Luke is not an emotional dweller, you know, unless.
Yeah, but then he starts hearing his voice later, and he starts shooting at things because of it. It's very, very, unstable behavior.
It is unstable behavior when you look at it that way. But like this movie is about like thematically, there's like. Owning up for your actions because Captain Marvel is responsible for like basically the decimation, arguably even close to the genocide of the entire Kree people on Hala. And they're just like, okay, just moving on, just not going to talk about that in any big way. But then they're like, at the end, they're like, but you have a lot of power in you, so you could probably just restart their sun. And then they're like, and she's like,
wait a second. Where was this the last 30 years?
Right. But I was also like, oh, you've never done anything like that before. I'm like, well, it's the first time for everything. Literally, like, quite literally. Like, see what happens.
Hey, I did all kinds of stuff that I haven't done before.
I jumped out a window today.
Therefore, by the transitive property, so can you.
You go restart a sun. And so she's like, okay, I'll do it. And then so she just like goes and does it. Restarts the sun like it's no big deal, flies off completely unfazed by this, not even tired, not even like I need a granola bar. What an effort that was. And that was it. But there's also like, so they have a son now. Great. Any other traction on that kind of owning up to destroying their entire civilization?
Yeah. I'm also like, you can't go from having no son to having a son, and then like what does that do to like your like
ecosystem?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like clearly they haven't had it long enough. They don't have oceans anymore.
Right.
So it's been 30 years since they've not had it. So like just having it back isn't gonna fix it all.
Yeah, exactly. Like it doesn't just.
But we're not interested in that because we got to go sit in a plane we don't have keys for, Frank. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, so, but that's what I'm like. But that's also weirdly like the charm of the movie, in that, like Star Wars, where it's just like I don't have time for big things. I said the feeling out loud, and that's all.
That's
it.
There's
like there's no subtext, and there's no follow up on any of these things. And I mean, that's in some ways so very typical of superhero movies.
Yes.
Like it's like Superman the movie, he reverses time, like somehow saves Lois, even though arguably the same events would just occur over again.
Sure.
But he saves both missiles, or decides that Hackensack, New Jersey is doomed, because that's really, like, and that we don't know what happened.
Sorry, Mrs.
And
Desmocker.
there's just like, oh well, just like, so this is going to be terrible. I can see what Zack Snyder was doing between Man of Steel and BVS, where there's actual consequences to to this thing that happens, because obviously this is a big deal.
Yes.
And we're just gonna let that happen, but not for Captain Marvel though. And so, but truthfully, if I had to have one or the other, I kind of prefer this one, because that's really like, it's cool that there are consequences for things, but there are a lot of stories and real life that are about consequences.
That's it.
Isn't it? And at the end of the day, this is a movie about a woman who willingly calls herself Captain Marvel and hangs around with Miss Marvel and Photon, who they never call Photon.
No, I thought they would get to it.
Nope, never do it, right? And like, this movie is about a bunch of cats that have tentacles coming out of their mouths. And that's fine.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, so like, it doesn't really bother me, I guess, that there are no consequences. Because the movie is about consequences, though, right? At the same time. Because it's like, oh, the Skrulls are just like, oh, here we go again. They got to move from one homeworld to another one because we're just the constant refugees. And I'm like, well, isn't this worldly and timely? Like, interesting. Like, I wonder if this is going to go somewhere. Nope, doesn't go anywhere. No, just like, okay, so you're just moving on up, right? Oh, these people, I guess you're just going to go live in new Asgard now.
I guess.
Yeah.
Guess so.
So yeah. So, but it's just like it wants to be this bigger movie, but it also wants to be this really smaller movie. And I guess it has a hard time reconciling between the two of them.
That's true. It does make some, yeah. I prefer the ways in which it is content being a slightly smaller movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's actually, those are its strengths.
Me too. Even the way that like sometimes it like cuts around particular action sequences, or like there's like one particular scene where like Carol's like flying, and then you see her like kind of land like inside the spaceship instead of see her and go right straight into it or whatever. And I'm like, what a TV move you just pulled.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, good for you for cutting some corners and saving money, because me, a child watching this, like, knows exactly what happened. Like, I don't need to see the expensive shot of her coming through. It's unnecessary.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What did you think of the villain?
I thought
we often talk about, the Marvel villain or the superhero movie villain. What did you make of the villain?
What was her name? Yeah, I don't think they said it until the third act, and then they said it a lot in rapid succession, and then I didn't know what it was still. It was too late for me to learn new names. She had extraordinarily generic dialogue.
Yes.
That was delivered slightly less generically.
Yeah.
And she was just a placeholder. She was like
Yeah.
she was like a placeholder for a theme. Like if the you are supposed to be Consequence incarnate, or
Her name could have been Consequence.
yes, and it actually would have been a stronger name than whatever her name was. Started with a D, I think, Dymphna,
I believe you're
or
right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Diaspora.
Let's call her Deirdre. Just for...
Deirdre. Yeah. No, I mean we could use our one lookup, but I'm not going to because like the movie. This was when people say like Marvel villains are forgettable. This is like the quintessential example of like you're not the important part of the story, but like the story that they were telling, she should have been the important part of the story.
That's true. That's true. Yes, she should have been. Arguably, that's part of how you get a shorter, more tighter story.
Absolutely, one less character to worry about.
Yeah, especially because let's face it, whether they went into more of a backstory or not, the villain is still the least memorable part.
Yeah, you have to work really hard to be a memorable villain in a Marvel movie.
Right.
And part of that memorability comes from I think part of it comes from the sustainability or the longevity of the character to begin with.
Agreed.
You know, like Loki is already a well-established villain, complex villain with understandable and relatable motives and so on, and a long history within the Marvel Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And Deirdre no, she just does not have that. So that she's working to a disadvantage, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And as a sequel, looking at this as a sequel, how do you think it fared in that way of being like the sequel to Captain Marvel?
In that way, it actually does follow through with some particular story arcs for Carol, and Monica for that matter, even though she was, she was only eight in the first movie,
Something
right?
Like that, yeah.
So I actually really did like it from that perspective. Like from one to the next one, there is a logical progression of what Carol has done, and you don't really need to see Infinity War or Endgame to know really what she's been up to.
I was thinking that too. Like you could watch Captain Marvel and then the Marvels back to back and be pretty much like able to follow.
Yeah, you just
like, you missed something in between, but like you can follow.
Yeah, you just kind of have to know what the blip is for it to make sense.
That's true. That's the one thing you need to know.
Yeah, but besides that, like it just like you just need to know that people disappeared for 5 years and then they came back. Okay,
right,
cool.
Right,
that's no other explanation needed.
Right.
So from that perspective, I really enjoyed, and I really thought that the chemistry between Monica, Carol, and Kamala was good.
Yeah. Yes, it really was.
Yeah, and props to the actress who plays Kamala, because like you're a child, like you're an actual child holding your own on camera, and you don't look stupid like doing it.
Right.
Like I actually believe you.
Yes. She was super cool. I did not watch Miss Marvel, so this was my first real experience.
Will you go and watch Miss Marvel now that you've seen her?
I like Iman Vellani a lot. I don't think I'm going to go and watch 8 hours of a show just because I don't have that kind of time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more inclined to than I was before because I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I like her. Yeah, I'd watch I'm willing to. I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
So I will not. But I would given the chance. I do. I liked her a lot. I thought it was great how she fit in with the other two as a group, and also how easily I without knowing much was able to sort of catch up on who she and her family were, and sort of like, okay, cool, like I get what each of these characters is supposed to be, and I can, okay, cool, I can follow now.
Yep.
Very quickly.
I loved her family. I thought they were wonderful.
Yes.
They just like they was nice, kind of like Blue Beetle. It was nice to see a supportive family on TV or in a superhero movie or something. I really enjoyed that, and I loved the moms like back and forth with Nick Fury. Like Nicholas told me that this is like a thing, and I just had to. I actually thought about it for a second. Nicholas. Oh,
yes.
Funny. I do have a question. Can you believe that Sam Jackson is still in these movies?
Yeah, no. I would have thought he'd be gone a long time ago.
Right? He's just like still making them.
He must be enjoying himself.
He's clearly enjoying himself. I mean,
why else would he be there, right?
I remember when Helen Mirren made Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods. They asked her like, "Oh, you're like Dame Helen Mirren, you're kind of a big deal, like Shakespearean actress extraordinaire. Why are you doing this movie?" And she said, "Oh, I love these kind of movies. No acting required. Like they dress you up real nice. You go in and you say your lines in a slightly dramatic kind of way, and then you sit in a chair for a while. Like it's great. It's so easy." And so I feel like for Sam Jackson, there's like a part of that. It's like an easy paycheck, but he's not really phoning it in. He's still Nick Fury. He's just like, but he's been doing it for so long now that he's like, yeah, right, whatever.
I bet it must be like getting to like play. You know what I mean? It's like it's not acting per se like Helen Mirren says, but it's like I get to play. I get to like, hang around and wear a costume and pretend to be somebody else and have fun doing it. And I've been doing this character for 15 years now, so like I know
them inside and out, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The lines come in, and you're like, all right, this is how I'd say them. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. I had the thought, what must it be like to be the like, a young actor working alongside him, Sam Jackson, and be like, oh wow, I'm basically the role that you were in Jurassic Park, and now I'm doing it alongside you. That's so weird.
Oh, right, those two people on Saber. Yeah, it's so true. Like
I'm basically the hold on to your butts guy, and I'm doing it next to Sam Jackson.
Yep, that's that must be pretty wild, actually, when you say it like that. I was going to go back to something. Going back to like this movie being in some ways a little tropey. Like I feel like Marvel has heard enough of flack against the like, oh, there's just a big light in the sky bringing doom to us all, that you think that they would do something different by now. But like here it is, just a big light in the sky. It like goes up and parts the clouds and like opens a thing, and it's like it's just, can you not even just come up with a different way of showing it to us? Like, why does it have to go up into the sky? Why is that a thing? Like, and how does it know where to stop? Like, it just like goes about 200 feet up, and then that's. I just don't understand like how years of doing that you could be like, all right, let's just keep doing that.
It is wild. It also occurs to me just how much imagery like that is so common to every superhero movie, every superhero franchise, regardless. Like even just like think about those the bangles that she had, and how like the way that like the light goes through like the filigree in it, right? Yep. Like how many times have you seen that visual?
Yeah.
Like so much, like
it's like a stock. It's like a stock visual.
It almost is, right? Like at this point, it's such a like. It just what the look of what is like someone having powers look like. Oh, it means them shooting like lightning out of their fingertips. Like it's so like the visual vocabulary of this stuff is kind of hard to
separate yourself from.
But it's also hard to like innovate on, because it kind of feels like there's only so much. Like, how many visual ways can you show that like someone is using their power on somebody else, or that there's something power in the sky coming down? How many ways can you do it? It does sort of after a while, like it's not even their fault anymore. They've just exhausted every way to do it, and so if you're going to keep telling stories about that kind of thing, it's kind of look the same.
Yeah, I agree. But in some ways, it is helpful that there is a visual language to it, because because you can walk in and you see it, and it now no longer requires an explanation. Like you can it just happens. Yes. But I was thinking about that, and especially in terms of the mid-credit scene, because there's, spoilers, so why not? Mid-credit scene. So, so Monica ends up in a new universe, a different universe, when she closes the gap. Why she had to so she's pulling like strings basically to close the hexagonal opening, right? Yes. So, but if she's pulling, arguably she could then also push them closed, could she not?
Yes.
So why couldn't you push it closed from your universe if you can pull it closed from the other side?
That I don't know.
Okay, I didn't think you really had an answer, but it was just it was just like a reason to get her there on the other side instead of this is the only way to do this. It's not. There are other ways to do this.
Even, backing up, and she was like, well, is there any way we can fix it? And she's like, well, here's how. Here's one way. And it's like, just shoot energy at me, and then I'll do it from the inside. And I was like, why from the inside? That you're obviously going to get stuck on the inside.
Right.
It's
like she wanted to get stuck on the inside. I'm tired of this universe and these people, right? I don't know. Maybe the story would have been stronger if, maybe she suspected her mom was in a different universe, and so she was trying to go to a different universe.
Right. If she had a motivation,
to get there, right? Yeah. And you're like, no, I want this. But no, just something. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about that. So Beast shows up, voiced by Kelsey Grammer. Amazing. I would assume maybe mocapped. I'm not sure. He didn't feel mocapped. He felt like a CG creation.
I agree.
But I'll get back to that in a second. But I was wondering, okay, so the X-Men franchise, how do they show powers? They don't. They don't. It's all just invisible pushes and pulls and play acting. And I feel like that ages better in some ways. And
it does.
I remember being a kid and being disappointed that Magneto wasn't didn't have swirly purple around him.
Yeah.
But ultimately it does feel like you don't see magnetism, right?
Right. The swirly purple, it makes sense in pictures and drawings because you don't have any other visual cues, right? But if there's movement,
that is your visual cue.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need motion lines, in the same way.
Right. So I just I just want to that actually looks better over time in a way that this won't. But again, I don't say that's not anybody's fault. I think it's just where we've moved, and it's tough when you're stuck with you're stuck with the same visual language that you've been doing since 2008.
Yes,
right?
That's the tough thing, and it's again, you can't really fault them for it. It's sort of it's kind of, I don't know. I can't think of any other way to do it either.
Right. Have we not seen lightsabers? Isn't there another way you could show us that?
Sure,
not really. Where you've seen laser blasts out of a blaster or a gun or whatever.
Right.
Well, yeah. But that's what happens. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. Exactly.
But anyway, let's go to this post-credit scene because, Monica's in there. She sees what she believes to be her mom, Maria. Right, Marie?
Yep.
Maria.
Maria.
Yeah. But it's not her. It's not. It's an X-Men. Frank, it's an X-Men.
X-Men.
One I didn't recognize, but other people did. I looked it up and I've already forgotten who it is. But it's supposed to be a fun play on because Captain Marvel before she was Captain Marvel, when she's Miss Marvel, and Photon. At different points, Carol Danvers, she spends tons of time with the X-Men. So decades she has spent with the X-Men in Claremont's run. And so she's really, really connected to them. So it's fun that she's that this is the movie that they really fully appear.
Bring them in. That's fun. That is cool.
In some way. And so I think, but one of the character symbol that Maria is the symbol that she has for a while. So she's basically Captain Marvel, Photon, Binary, I think she's called. I think it's Binary.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the name. But I think it was one of the producers said the idea was, Carol and Maria race to the hangar. right? And in the MCU, Carol gets there first. But in this universe, Maria got there first.
Maria gets there first.
And this is
cool,
this is basically where it leads, one to the X-Men and one to not.
Right. So that flashback that they showed us where Maria's like, hey, could have been me, I could have gotten
Could have been me. Yep.
Right.
That was and this was her that she made it.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's very, very cool.
Did you know Beast was coming?
No.
Oh, you how surprised, excited, not excited were you?
All very, very. Most exciting of all was that it was Kelsey Grammer.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well,
top
I didn't
top
know
5 comic castings of all time. Easy.
Absolutely.
Easy.
Absolutely. I just
Chris
didn't
Reeve,
know. I mean, I guess
Patrick Stewart, Kelsey Grammer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we know Hugh Jackman is going to be in Deadpool, so it makes sense that. But I don't know. It seemed like maybe that would be an exception because Hugh Jackman is just
Wolverine, right?
Wolverine,
right. But Kelsey Grammer has said he loved playing Beast.
Yeah.
And so but I'm sure he was grateful that it was just a sound booth this time.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure. But yes, that was extremely exciting to see that, his Beast and hear his voice was
and
was awesome.
And an extraordinarily comic accurate Beast, like just 90s Beast.
Yeah.
Like I thought
Totally.
it was so fun. I did know ahead of time, and I'm glad I knew because I wouldn't have been able to concentrate on anything, I think. And I normally don't go for spoilers, and for this time, for some reason I did. But I am glad because I would have been like, oh my God, is that Kelsey Grammer? I think it's Kelsey Grammer. I think oh wow, what does he look like? And then and then he would have left. I've been like, what happened? What did I see? What did I miss? At least this time I was able to I was able to process the words. Sure. So when he said Charles wants an update, I was like,
I did hear that. I did catch that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool. Patrick Stewart in an upcoming movie. Cool.
Yeah. Maybe. So this is where I think it's going. And I'm sure other people have also said this, but Deadpool 3, I think, is going to be this merger of it's gonna be a meta merger of the X-Men and the MCU.
I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig that idea. I dig that idea. I like the idea that in the MCU, on the other side of that tear is the Fox universe.
Me too. Yeah.
When she's like, there's another reality on the other side of that tear, right? I think that reality is the Fox movie universe.
Right.
And that everything that happened in all the Fantastic Four and X-Men movies all happened in that side of the
They happened over there. Yeah. Although I don't think that the Fantastic Four movies are supposed to be the same one as the they're not supposed to be the same one as the X-Men.
Let's say it's a different multiverse on the other side of that.
Multiverse, it's not really a different one, right? It's just a multiverse, right?
It's sure.
Yeah. But I love it anyway. So if Deadpool 3 is going to be you're moving towards a merger of that, then it's like goodbye to all our friends, road show kind of movie. Come on, Logan, you're coming with me to say goodbye to everybody. And I would dig that.
I like that idea.
Yeah. So because alternatively, it just means that they will continue to exist in their own pocket universe because there's so much X-Men. There's so many X-Men characters. You don't really need them in the Marvel universe at all. They're very capable of standing on their own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It gets kind of overcrowded kind of fast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good reason to keep them, have some kind of divide, a universe divide, a reality divide.
Right. Keep it Justice League over here and the JSA over here, right?
Kind of like that, yeah, yeah. Because it does get sort of overwhelming if you cross the two too much.
Yeah, but I'm fine either way. Whatever. Yeah. I'm along for the ride. Kind of like I was for this movie. Overall, it's a 3 out of 5 stars. It's like I saw our movie. I enjoyed it. I might never watch it again. It doesn't do anything egregious, but it doesn't really do anything super wonderful.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. 2 super wonderful things, I got to say. The Musical Planet, I loved.
Oh, that was, oh my gosh, that was great. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I loved it.
The dance number, and her singing about them being in danger, amazing. He's bilingual.
Yep, he's bilingual. I think that the Guardians established that the cosmic universe is a weird place. So it allows for something like this. I don't think if Guardians didn't exist, then this would feel so abnormal.
Yeah,
but I'm already used to the wider universe being really strange, and maybe Earth is the only thing that takes itself too seriously.
Sure.
There's like select things that are like the Kree, the Skrulls, Thanos, and Earth take itself too seriously, and everybody else is just like having fun.
Super silly.
Yeah. So I love that. And the Flurkins eating the crew to memory from Cats was just wonderful.
Yes, from Cats. Oh my gosh, so good. So good. Yes, that was a top 10 MCU moment.
Absolutely.
So funny.
Absolutely.
Also, I really enjoyed the montage where the three of them
training montage.
The training montage, the three of them were switching and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was very silly and very fun.
It was.
And it was giving big vibes of, trying to lift Mjolnir during
yes. The after party. Yep. Mm-hmm.
The after party in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think the movie does more right than it does wrong.
Agreed. Yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah. But it just but like all the right parts just kind of, apart from I'd say maybe those three things, they're just like there's nothing particularly overly special about it. At the end of the day, it's still a superhero team that fights a giant light that shoots up into the sky with an underdeveloped villain.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, yeah. So
great team, the three of them, and I want to see them fight together again at some point.
I thought that Brie Larson really opened herself up as Carol Danvers in this movie, where
she was really fun in this movie.
She was very fun, and not that I needed Carol to be super fun, but she had a lot going on in the other times that we saw her, and there were hints of her being fun, as it went on. But she was actually really allowed to be like, "No, I'm actually a good actress. Everybody, shut up."
Mm-hmm.
I'm
a good actor, but also this is a character. Like, this is an actual character with a personality that you're going to get to meet and get to know a little bit more in this movie. Because to your point, she had so much going on that she was just in the middle of all the action. I feel like every time we've seen her up until now, and this gave her some more time to who is Carol? Let's meet her.
Right, but even the movie doesn't really spend time with that either, which is funny.
No,
she's
no,
I'm using this whole torture device to reclaim my lost memories. Yes. Oh, okay. We're not going to explore that either. No, hey, you know what? But I don't care. Keep going. Yeah, you're having fun. Musical Planet. All right, let's do this. So so it's all good. It's all good, baby. Frank, where can people find us?
You can find us on you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. You can find us wherever you download or subscribe or listen to your podcasts. You can do that with Beer with Geeks. Please subscribe, rate, and review us in whatever app you like. Email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. And please support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. Tim, I have a question.
Yes.
I know they're called Flurkin, but wouldn't a better name be Octopussy?
Yeah. Yes. Good, Frank. I am actually listening to the James Bond audiobooks right now. Listening to Casino Royale. Mm-hmm. Narrated by Dan Stevens. It's very good. He'd make a good James Bond. Just saying.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Unrelated completely, but good segue. Frank, until next time, cheers.
Cheers.